Hello and welcome back to our coding lesson developing an asynchronous chat application. So, after discussing a real application project with Async.io, this example will focus on creating a simple asynchronous chat application. This showcases the Async.io's ability to handle multiple client connections, manage real-time message exchange, and maintain a responsive server. So, we will need two things. We will need a server and a client. So, let's start with the server.py. So, first of all, we need to import the async.io and then we can start building our server. So, we'll need a class name chat server. The def init will have a list of clients. So we will initialize an empty list of clients. Now we can move to our handle client. So async def handle client gets two things. Async def handle client gets the reader and the writer, as we already saw with the open connection. So self.clients, we will want to append to the client the writer. After that, we want to get the header from the writer. So writer dot get extra info on the peer name. Okay. After that, we will print new connection from header. Cool. While true, because we want the server to run for permanent. So while true, data equal to await reader dot read. We want to get the first 100 bytes. If no data, so if the data is empty, so it's because the client closed its connection. So if the data is empty, we will print connection closed by, and we will print the client information. Now we will remove our writer of this client from the client, and we will close this writer. Okay, if not, we can get our message. So data.decode, we need to decode the data from the client, and let's print the message. So receives from, and let's print the client information, and now let's print the message. That's all. Now we want to run on the client for client in self.clients, and we want that we don't want to send the message back to the sender. So client does not equal to writer. Client.write, we want to write the data, and let's wait until we transfer the message. In the end, we can print and connection from, and let's print our client. That's all. Now let's move to the second function, the run server. The run server will, this is the main function of the running, and the run server will use the handle client, don't worry. So run server, async def run server, we will need to transfer the host and the port, and now we will use the handle client. So server will be equal to await for async.io.start server. We will transfer the handle client, and now let's transfer its params, so host and port. In addition, we will get the client information, the server information, so server.sockets in the first place, and get socket name. Now we will print serving on, and we'll need to print the server information, and we will run the server forever. So async with server await on the server that serve forever. That's all. Now we can run our main. So chat will be equal to chat server and async.io dot run. We will run the chat dot run server. We will with the param of local host and the port 5003. Okay, that's pep 8. Okay, now we can move to our client. So in the client we will import the async.io, and now we can start writing our client function. So async def chat client will get the name, the host, and the port. That's all. We will open connection using the async.io open connection, and the open connection returns two params, reader and writer. So await of async.io open connection on the host and the port, and we will get the reader and the writer. Now after opening the connection, we will print the name and connected to chat server, and now we will print the host and the port. So it's the server information. After that, let's create a function of sending messages. So async def send messages while true, because we want to always to get input from the user. Message equal to input, name and the message, because at the start we will get the user name, so we will print each time his name and the message. Now after we get the message, so writer.write, we want to write the message, we will take the message and encode it, and after that we need to drain it. So writer.drain. That's all. Now we want to receive the message. Maybe because of the server will return the message like an ACK. So async def receive messages. So again, while true. They can both be on while true because we will run it together because it's asynchronous. So while true, data will be equal to await reader.read first 100 bytes, and if not data, so if the data is empty, is because someone closed the connection, we'll print this connected from chat server, and then we will close the writer and we will break. If data is not empty, we will print the data. So data.encode, sorry, decode. Okay, that's all. Now we need to create two objects. So send task will be equal to async.io.createTask on send messages. The same on receive task. It will be equal to async.io.createTask on received messages. Now we can use the gather of the async.io. So async.io.gather, and we will transfer the send task and the received task. Now we can run our main. Name will be, we need to get the name of the user at the start. So enter your name, and after we get his name, we will run our program. So we need to run the chat client. We'll transfer the name, we will transfer the host. It will be the same as the server, so localhost and 5003. So before I will run the code, let's explain our code. So let's explain at first the chat server class. It implements an asynchronous chat server. The server accepts connection, adds client to a list of broadcasting messages, and handles incoming messages by forwarding them to all other connected clients. The handle client methods, this one, manage each client connection. It reads messages from the client and broadcasts them to the other clients. In this part, we will not transfer the correct message from the clients to the same client, because if I said hello world, I don't want to get back hello world. I want all the other clients to get hello world. So the run server, this function, started the server on the specified host and port, awaiting to a new connection. The chat client function connects to the chat server and handles sending and receiving messages. It runs two asynchronous tasks concurrently, one for sending messages and one for receiving them. This code demonstrates using Async.io to develop a network application that requires handling multiple connection and a real-time communication, showcasing Async.io suitability for such a real-world application. So let's run the server. As you can see, serve on localhost and 5003. Now let's run the client. And he will want me to transfer the name. I will open the client on the right and the server on the left. So I will write Idan, and as you can see, Idan connected to the chat server on localhost 5003, and in the server I get a new connection from this client. Now let's say hello, and the server get received from this client, and it gets hello. What happened if I close the client? If I close the client, I get a message on the server, closed connection by and end connection. Now if I run the client again, and I will print, let's say Bob, I will open a new connection. See, it's other ID. It's a socket with a different ID. Now I will say bye, and I will get bye. If I close the server, nothing happened. Okay, so if I close the server and I will insert to Bob some message, I will not get anything because the server is closed. So that's all for this lesson. I hope you understand how to write your simple client server method. I will see you at the next one. Bye bye.